If you're in the marketplace, I believe that people want to connect to you, not because of what you say about your products, but because of the story that backs your product. People don't buy products, people buy stories. People don't buy personalities, people buy stories. The way you position yourself, the way you are perceived is connected to the stories you're telling.
Yeah, the feedback is very important, particularly those that are in the social media who are making posts or leaving their mark out there. They must have a way of measuring whether their communication is effective in terms of maybe how people are relating or reacting to what they're doing. I think that is really very important for people to note them.
Tell us what you've done. Show us some evidences. And remember, most of these TEDx talks gives you opportunities to be able to talk about your business, talk about yourself, tell a story. So instead of just telling raw, ordinary stories to your potential clients, but professional, you can deliver a TEDx talk and simply send the link to the people. Once they see the link and having you on the TEDx platform, it gives you a lot of access. It gives you a lot of credibility.
Thank you for checking out Obehi Podcast. We encourage people to own their story and share it with the world to expand their purpose. Before we start this presentation, I have something to quickly share with you. Are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? Do you want to cut across the noise and attract your ideal client by leveraging your own story? Then pay attention. I have a signature program that can help you own your story. A 5-step transformative journey to reshape your professional and business narrative for success in less than 90 days. And it's available at academy.aclasses.org/story. This is what we have understood. Storytelling is the most powerful instrument known to man. And this is what that could mean to you. You can either own your story and use it to advance your purpose in your business and professional life, or someone else will do. The choice is yours. Now let's get started with today's episode of the Obehi Podcast. Thank you so much, Izu, for taking this time to talk to me on a topic that I found very important today, which is because, of course, you're an expert on Tech Talk. You've been following this for a number of years, and you have organized a lot of Tech Talks, and that make you an expert in this area. And, of course, today we are looking at how can influencer and creative entrepreneur leverage the power of TED Talk in what they are doing. That's essentially what we are going to be covering in this conversation. Now, could you take some time to talk about who you are so that people can learn about you? Then from there, we move into what you do. Please go.
I want to say thanks to you, first of all, Mr. Obehi, for this great opportunity to be on your call. You have been consistent ever since I got maybe on LinkedIn. Of course, what I do is very specific. Aside of my work with the Al Jazeera, I help people to get on the TEDx stage. And doing that, I see that as an opportunity for people to be able to tell their stories, leveraging the biggest storytelling platform in the world. And I'm talking about TEDx. It has over 41 million followers on YouTube. So I hold your hands, teach you some of the elements you need to consider and pay attention to regarding telling your story and efficiently communicating your narratives to the people who will possibly listen to you and want to be a part of your journey. You already know that the greatest asset you would ever want to be remembered for is your story. And how you tell this story is very important. And this is where I come in to teach you, guide you, support you, and ensure that it becomes a vision that you will be part of. So that, in a nutshell, is what I do and who I represent, and also Mr. Obehi. I'm envisioned to raise 1 million effective, highly sought after speakers, professional speakers, by 2040. This is a burden that is on my shoulders, and I hope that I'm able to achieve it. God helping me. Well, many thanks to you, Mr. Obehi, for having me on your platform today.
Thank you so much for that, Izu. I really appreciate that, and also for the fact that you are working on this mission and to train 1 million speaker. That is astronomically beautiful for us, for our demography, and for the people that are also listening to you. That is really a beautiful thing. Of course, it's a beautiful thing also for the fact that it is good for entrepreneurs to have something in front of them that is sort of guiding them, something that they are moving towards, because that help them to direct what they are doing, so that they are not just haphazard. Because in the business environment, of course, we are talking about creative entrepreneur today. They will understand, or you will understand it, because even you yourself, Izu, you are an entrepreneur, because you are doing this not just for the passion of it. You are doing this to earn income, which means you are also an entrepreneur in that you are creating solution for people. So for people like that, I think it is very important that you have a vision, you know where you are going, because if you don't know where you are going, you are going to burn your energy and you will get nowhere. So that is really fundamentally important. So thank you for that. And I wish you all the success in it, that you will be able to achieve what you are aiming at. That is very important. I want to say that again. Now, because we are using TED Talk as our point of reference today, looking at the creative entrepreneurs, you did also say something important just now, that TED Talk is one of the most important, actually one of the most influential platform out there. Why do you think that is the case? What made TED Talk actually stand out from other in the industry?
Yeah, I believe that TEDx platform is one of the most strategic platforms that you can leverage to tell your story. And why I believe that it is one of the best and the most strategic is because of the evidences that it exudes. Part of it is the number of followers and consistently the number of talks that has been delivered on that platform. You know, there is nothing more powerful than evidence. There is nothing more powerful than consistency. So this platform has consistently grown from 0 to 41 million users, with tons of thousands and millions of viewers and listeners across the world. So for such a platform, if you climb on that platform and stand on the red spot of the TEDx, what that offers you is enormous, is incredible. I mean, you will directly be connected to people you don't know and people who don't even know you. They connect with you at the point and at the level of the value in your story. So there are many other platforms. Of course, you can use your social media handles to promote your stories. You can use different platforms and mediums to promote your story. But I believe that the reason you want your story to be told is for a good number of people to experience your story. And if that is one of your objectives, then I believe that you need to stand on a platform that offers you a massive number of listeners and viewers. And that platform, especially regarding your story, is TEDx. With emphasis on stories, I would recommend TEDx platform any day, anytime, because it gives you not just the platform, not just the spotlight, but it gives you access to millions of viewers. It gives you access to millions of listeners. It gives you access to millions and tons of thousands of giving opportunities. You never can tell who will listen to your video, who will listen to your story, who will watch you. You never can tell. So lots of collaboration can come out of it. Lots of partnerships, lots of people can invest into what you do. There are many incredible opportunities that comes with speaking on a TEDx platform. Over to you.
Now, let's talk about maybe some of the things that people might need to consider. I would like to call it some essential element that make tech talks really impactful. because people are coming to listen to tech talk material, the audio and video that are recorded and put out there, because they are getting something out of it, which means that the platform actually is impactful to the people. So if that is the case, what are these elements that really make it impactful, and how can creative entrepreneur apply this principle that they learn from TEDx so they can use it to present themselves and build an outstanding brand? Yeah, what do you say about that?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Obehi, for that question. The essential elements that make a TED Talk impactful, and how creative entrepreneurs can apply these principles to their own presentations. I think one of the most powerful elements regarding TEDx Talk presentation is the communication side of it. No matter how powerful your story is, if you don't have the capacity to communicate your story, then your story may not make any meaning. Even if you have access to millions of viewers and listeners, you need to be able to compel those people to consistently listen to you and also connect to you. So connection can only happen, especially when it comes to telling your story, talking about your brand, when you effectively communicate. So effective communications is synonymous with TEDx Talks, right? So this is why I believe that if there is one thing you're going to learn about this journey, if there is one element, it is communications, effective, intelligent, brilliant communications. This is one thing you're going to learn, which would also help you as a creative entrepreneur to be able to support your brand very effectively, because branding comes up and goes down on effective communications. If the brand does not speak, nobody would ever know what the brand represents. So every brand you know today is connected to the concept of effective communications. And if you want to deliver a powerful TEDx talk, you want your brand to be received based on the way you're perceived, then communications is something you want to be very, very in for. It is an intelligent, integral aspect of TEDx talk delivery. And it also has a direct connection with your business, with your brand, and your personality. Communications is truly important element here to be considered. Thank you.
Communication and effective communication. You actually spell that out. And because you did, could you say something more about that? What is actually the difference between effective communication and just communication? Maybe that people might really want to learn that. Please go.
Yeah, I believe that communications becomes effective when you truly define what you want people to take home with. Communications is mostly effective when there is feedback. In fact, the completion of communications and its effectiveness depends largely on feedback. And the feedback might just be non-verbal or verbal feedback given to you. The importance of communications right here is for people to take actions. So when we talk about communications, you are relating to people. But when we talk about effective communications, we're talking about action-oriented communications, which comes back with feedback, as many of it as possible. Because you can just be speaking, talking to people, communicating to people, and the people don't come back with a feedback, then that is not an effective communication. Effective communications happens when people come back to you with a feedback, when people come back to you with an answer, when people come back to you taking a decision, taking an action, and moving forward. So feedback justifies the effectiveness and the efficiency of your communications.
All right, thank you so much for that. Yeah, the feedback is very important, particularly those that are in the social media who are making posts or leaving their mark out there. They must have a way of measuring whether their communication is effective in terms of maybe how people are relating or reacting to what they're doing. I think that is really very important for people to note there. Now, I'm sort of having a curiosity. Is it possible that professional and creative entrepreneur maybe can use the TED Talk platform to build credibility and authority in their industry? Is that something you can say about that?
Yeah, Mr. Obehi, of course. Speaking on such a platform gives you a lot of credibility as a speaker, as a professional, as an entrepreneur, as a brand. Because most times people want to do business with you on the basis of you showing evidences. Like, tell us what you've done, show us some evidences. And remember, most of these TEDx talks gives you opportunities to be able to talk about your business, talk about yourself, tell a story. So instead of just telling raw, ordinary stories to your potential clients, a professional, you can deliver a TEDx talk and simply send a link to the people. Once they see the link and having you on the TEDx platform, it gives you a lot of access. It gives you a lot of credibility. And also, TEDx Stage has hosted incredibly enormous, great number of world-class speakers, leaders, professionals, entrepreneurs, cutting across different regions and sectors. So speaking on the same stage, whether you speak on a red spot in Ghana, you speak on a red spot in Germany, you speak on a red spot any part of the world, you spoke on the same platform as those great people all over the world. And what that means is, for instance, if Warren Buffett spoke on a TEDx platform talking about business, effectiveness of ideations, and you speak on the same platform talking about technology, education, it means you have also spoken on the same platform as Warren Buffett. You can even introduce yourself saying that you spoke on a TEDx stage where likes of Warren Buffett, Barack Obama, all these great people have spoken on the same platform. So it gives you this credibility. People can trust you. People can perceive you as a leader. Because I always tell people that the concept of leadership comes back to communications. And people trust you more when they know and can relate to your brilliance in being able to express yourself in the most intelligent mannerism. So what that means is that credibility is subject to intelligent communications, is subject to clarity with which you express and intimate your ideas. So making reference to your past works, your past achievements, I'm very sure that you boldly talking about your experience of having to climb on the TEDx stage is is a beautiful, is a brilliant reference to make. And that serves the right purpose of giving you a lot of credibility and spotlighting you as someone that can truly and really be trusted. Not just about the authority it gives to you, it also gives you a great proportion of influence, and people respect you more and people trust you more. Thank you so much.
By speaking, in fact, I do see a lot of people, they write on their platform TEDx speaker because they have spoken in TED platform. That is, of course, in agreement with what you're saying here. But someone might be thinking now, is there a sort of a control mechanism, a control standard for TED Talk, so that somebody who have spoken a TED Talk organized in Washington and somebody who have spoken a TED Talk that is organized in New Delhi are of the same quality and therefore can use the logo, the fact that they have spoken in TED Talk as a kind of to build their own authority. So the question is whether there is a kind of a standard that is set up by the TED organization to make sure that every of their platform, wherever it is located in the world, is adhering to this is standard so that people can then use it as a way to boost their authority out there.
Yeah, Mr. Obehi, there is a standard. And the standard is that they have, the TEDx has a logo. You need to use the logo. There is what is called the RESPOT. You also need to use the RESPOT. And all of those things consistently represent the brand of the TED and by extension TEDx. So anywhere in the world, you need to be able to use those materials to be able to support and promote the branding of TEDx. So your video production has to also have and communicate the TEDx content, the TEDx branding, the colors, the the concept, the styles, everything about TEDx is represented to the local communities that decides to host the TEDx event. There is every need for every standard set by this great organization to be upheld, respected, and honored by the various curators. So that is where we have the curators. Before you're given a license to curate one, you must be able to go accept and uphold the conditions, the terms and the conditions of the TEDx organization. There is terms, there is conditions. So you need to be able to uphold those conditions and those terms before TEDx will be able to give you the license. And with that license, when you curate your event, you can comfortably upload those videos on the biggest platforms on the biggest platform in the world, which has to do with their YouTube account, where you have tons of millions of videos. Without the license, you can never upload those videos on the YouTube account. You can never have access to upload those videos. So the license grants you access as an individual, as an entity, for you to be able to upload those videos on their platforms. So once you have that license, you're able to do what is needful. But before you are given that license, you need to be able to agree, accept, and uphold the terms and the conditions. And the terms and the conditions simply communicate every detail about the standard, about the brand, and about the honor of the TEDx platform. Disrespecting those privileges might lead to you not being granted access to their YouTube account to upload videos and also curate your own event. The standards are very clear and the standards are beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. That is very important for people to know. There are a lot of people who just consume TEDx material, like me, for example. I've watched a lot of TED Talk on YouTube, and I've gained a ton of information and value from it. And of course, I continue to do. I listen to very inspiring speakers out there. Of course, there are a lot of value. So it is good that somebody from the inside is speaking about the fact that there are some rules that need to be obeyed, need to be adhered to, so that those standards are maintained, whether the event is organized in China or it's organized in Germany or it's organized, why not also in Africa? Talking of Africa, you have been a TED curator, a TED event curator for several years now. And that is something that we are particularly proud of, having one of our own being able to participate in this global event. Now, could you share with us, of course, here, that we spend a lot of time on storytelling. We are interested in your story, in how you got into the TED space. Could you share something in that line?
Yeah, I decided to start curating TEDx events because I received numerous no's from event organizers. I always wanted to be heard. I wanted to tell my stories. I wanted to speak to people. I believe that I have the knowledge, and I was truly inspired to be a blessing to people each time I communicated. But I kept receiving no's and no's and no's. So one day I got back home and I just decided that I was not going to go out again to search these opportunities. And I was inspired from that moment, especially after having a conversation with my mom, that I would not only create a platform where my voice would be heard, but I would also create a platform where other voices will be heard and they can be a blessing to many people. So that was how I curated my first event, which is the International Orators Convention. The International Orators Convention had people from different parts of the world attend the event, and it was amazing. Although it wasn't up to the standard I wanted, right? Like, I can't compare the standard at which I operate right now and the time. So those are moments that I'm so proud of. So after that event, I came across a few TEDx materials and videos, and I decided to further some researches regarding how I could curate mine. And that was how I got to know about applying for the license. So I applied for the license and I started curating, and I just realized that this is the platform that I have always wanted to be on. But right now, I'm going to be curating this to be able to honor many unheard voices, to help many people to unmute and be heard. Because there are many people with incredible stories, stories that has the power to transform lives, stories that has the power to change the narratives and bless souls, cutting across many regions. But these voices are not heard. Those voices are not heard. And that is a problem. Because no matter how powerful your experiences are, if nobody hears your experience, then it dies with you and it makes no impact. Impact is made when voices are heard. So that was part of the motivation that put me in here. And I look forward to curating my 100 TEDx event, not because I want to be identified as one who curated 100 TEDx events. I want to be identified as one that was able to support as many people to find their voice and be heard. So that is my story. That is my inspiration. And most importantly, that is my mission and my vision. Thank you, Mr. Obehi.
Thank you for that, Izu. Thank you so much for that. That is inspiring for people. They must understand that, yeah, there is a space that they can go because other people have gone before. What I sort of use as an example, looking at this and looking at story, is that we need to look at the road that we are in, that road was not created by us because other people have passed the road before, which is the importance of telling the story anyway, because it means now that you have a place to put your legs, so you must celebrate those who have created that road for you because you have learned from others before you or the event that have taken place before you. An example that I usually give in line with this is the fact that I grew up in a village in southern Nigeria. I remember vividly how we used to go to the farm to cultivate, of course, cassava, yam, and the fruit and all of it. The road that we take was not created by us. Other people have created that road. And that road, therefore, is a symbol or a connection between us, where we are right now, which is the present, and what have been before, and also what is going to come after us. That we need to keep celebrating all of that. And it really is very important for me, as you made mention of you creating your 100 TED Talk, which is, you say, it's not just because you want to make mention of how many you have created, but how many impact you have been able to make happy people. That is fundamentally important for me, which, of course, this is also in line with what you said before, in that you have a vision, you have a kind of a mentor in front of you that is guiding you. And this is fundamentally important also for creative entrepreneur. Now, having said that, how can effective storytelling help creative entrepreneur in competing in a crowded market? Or maybe I should say because I said quite often that if you are competing, it's because you haven't owned your story. Of course, I have an entire signature program about owning your story. That when you own your story, you don't need to compete anymore. Because if you are competing, it means you haven't found your voice. Because your voice is unique. There is no way another person can compete with you because you are literally a unicorn. So when you own your voice, having the power of storytelling or being able to leverage the power of storytelling, you basically carve out a space for you in the so-called crowded market. So what do you say about that?
I believe that your story is what makes you a totally different voice, no matter where you are. If you're in a marketplace, I believe that people want to connect to you, not because of what you say about your products, but because of the story that backs your product. People don't buy products, people buy stories. People don't buy personalities, people buy stories. The way you position yourself, the way you are perceived is connected to the stories you're telling. And remember, you can tell stories without even opening your mouth. The way you're dressed is telling a story. The colors you choose for your brand is telling a story. Your logo is telling a story. The way you write, the way you express yourself is telling a story. Every single element about your personality tells a story. So the most important thing here for anyone listening to me to understand intelligently is that You can never be respected in the marketplace. You can never be patronized in the marketplace until you are identified by the culture and the traditions of your story. The question is, have you come to the point of understanding what story backs up your product and your services? Because if you don't even know what story backs up your product and your services, you're not going to do well. You're not going to be progressive as a business person, as an entrepreneur. So I believe that rather than pursuing competition, I think that we should uphold our stories. Rather than pursuing envy, I think we should uphold our stories. We should embrace our stories and represent everything about our stories. That is the only way, that is the only moment, and that is the only medium through which we can be perceived as the most reliable products that can be trusted in the marketplace. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Izu. There is a lot of value that is actually going on here. And of course, I am asking the listeners, the viewer, of course, because this is both available in audio and also in video. If you are getting any value from here, why not let us know in the comment section? If Izu is inspiring you, you can reach out to him. He's available on LinkedIn. And of course, he's doing an incredible work in Nigeria. Of course, you heard also his vision, what he wants to do in the future, of course, beginning from this moment, which is incredibly valuable for us as a community. So you can reach out to him to learn more. All these are the reason why we are doing this. We are creating this content because we have a mission for it. So if you're having any value, let us know in the comment section. All right, Izu, I have a question for you. Now, as a TEDx event curator in Lagos, Nigeria, now you have been doing this for years now. You have grown your thick skin, if I might put it like that. By that, I mean, have you encountered some challenges in your journey so far? If any, can you share with us? Because we are here to learn. Again, we are talking about story.
Yes, so I don't just curate my events. I don't just curate my events only in Nigeria, Lagos, Abuja, and all those places. I've curated in other African countries, and my assignment is not limited to Nigeria. It's a global assignment. The last event I curated, I had somebody from the UK fly down to deliver a TEDx talk in Abuja, Nigeria. I've encountered challenges, and part of it has to do with the resources. It takes a lot of resources to put together an incredible TEDx event. TEDx events that can, match up with the international standard. A TEDx event that can match up with, the global standard. You need a lot of resources. You need a lot of strong hands. You need a lot of talents for that to be done and done effectively. So the other part, I have also encountered a lot of challenges where you have speakers who are so enthusiastic about telling their stories, but they're not willing to also master the dynamics of effective communications. So they come with so much passion and less knowledge and experience. Powerful passion, less knowledge and experience. When they get on that stage, that is usually a challenge, because at the end of the day, when their videos are produced, curated, they are not often proud of the productions. And not because of the production as per production, but because of their presentations. So that is one of the challenges. And for me, I always encourage my clients, before you get on the TEDx stage, ensure that you have properly done your work. Ensure that you have invested in the area of knowing what to say and mastering how to say it. Knowing what to say and mastering how to say it makes you a genius on that platform. And those are just relatively a few of the challenges. But then I give thanks to God Almighty for the grace, the wisdom, and thus far He has brought us regarding curating this event. And I'm sure that no matter the numerous hurdles that we experience on our way, God is going to give us the wisdom, the resources, and the expertise to be able to pull through regardless.
Thank you for that, Izu. Now, because we are talking about storytelling, actually we are talking about business, it is important that we also make mention of strategy. So based on your experience so far, have you organized a lot of successful TEDx talk And of course, you are a professional storyteller out there. Um, what strategy do you think successful TED Talk speaker should use to craft compelling story that will resonate with diverse audiences? And how can entrepreneur, or let's say creative entrepreneurs, integrate their story or their storytelling techniques into their business messages so that they can stand out from the competition? So that, like we were saying before, if you own your story, you never need to compete again. So we're talking about the strategy that can make someone successful as a TED Talk speaker.
Yeah, so the biggest thing I would say to anyone who wants to deliver their TEDx talk is own a story. What is your story? Because your story is connected to your ideas. TEDx is all about ideation, and your ideas are a product of your stories. So let everything about what you want to do on that platform be about your experience, your stories. This is going to give you a lot of confidence. This is going to give you a lot of influence, and you will just go there and be yourself, as opposed to having a lot of do this, do that, do this, do that, and you go there, you become an AI. Rather than becoming an AI on the stage, I think it is most important for you to just be yourself, experience yourself, embrace yourself. And that is the only way that people can experience you and also embrace you. Let those things, let every speech and every talk you want to deliver be interconnected, related, and connected to your stories and your experiences. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Now, this is a kind of a personal question. And we like to add this question here in Obehi Podcast because of the fact that we talk a lot about storytelling and so personal improvement, which is a continuous growth for an individual. At a point, it's important to understand what are we learning, because a lot of things will happen and they have happened and more will still happen to us. We cannot stop that. But if we are able to identify the lesson learned, then we are going to be better than where we were before that incident happened to us. So, Izu, what would you say is your biggest lesson learned as a TEDx event curator?
I've listened to incredible stories. I've learned humility. And most importantly, I have come to realize that people will be people, and perfectionism is the reason people are not producing results. I've learned enormous lessons from these TEDx events I've curated. And I would say that amongst everything I learned empathy. People are going through a lot. And the best way that people can truly be the best version of themselves is when you understand that people are going through a lot. Be a blessing to people, support people, show them love. And I mean, it's been a journey. It's been an adventure for me curating this event. I've just learned how to be a human being. Though sometimes I can be very stubborn, but I've learned how to be a human being. Thank you.
That is really beautiful. That is beautiful. I love that. A couple of days ago, I organized a kind of joint podcast where I connected a professor in the UK and an assistant professor in the US. We were talking about crisis of identity. Because, of course, if you are a person of African descent, whether you are in Africa or in the diaspora, you understand, or you should understand, that the African people are suffering from identity crisis. Of course, there are those who will admit it, there are those who will not admit it, or maybe they don't even understand. So this particular conversation was really deep. So at the point, one of the speaker, Dr. Tawanda, was making reference of something that is really very important, which is remembering where we are coming from. And of course, that was from a deep work that was done by another expert, a scholar in the US. So I like it where you said becoming human, or what you have learned to become more human. I think that is really an important thing, because we look at other people, then we see ourselves in them, knowing that they can have challenges, they can also fail sometimes, which of course depends on how you are able to interpret that. Because we know that we too have failed before. When we see others talking about their failure, we immediately connect, because we don't need to go to Harvard University to understand what that means now, because we know it have happened to us. Somebody say, "Oh, I'm having headache." You don't need to do a lot of theory to understand what is headache. You have heard. One time in your life, you have had a headache. In fact, in voodoo religion, there is something that is very important that people must understand. This is an advanced spirituality, in that the other person next to you is actually you, which is the relationship between the object and the mirror. So that when you look at a society like Africa that are very community-based, your life is not just about you. It's about also other people. So that as you are interacting with people, and like a person like you who is organizing an event, meeting all sort of people all the time, is helping you to discover yourself even more. That is really, really rewarding. Now, you are organizing events shortly. Now, let's talk about those who are planning to attend and speak. What do you think maybe could be the way for them to prepare so that they can make better pitch and secure spot even on the TEDx stage? What should they focus on in terms of the content and the delivery when maybe they eventually accepted to speak? Because I believe that not everybody that say I want to speak, that you just give the room to speak. Can you say something about that?
Yeah, so I believe that they should pay more attention to practice and not all the attention on preparations. Practice is what justifies your preparation. So you have done your preparations, you have gathered your materials, you have written your story. You need to now practice. The more you practice, the more better you become in being able to express yourself and be well perceived on the stage, because the way you're perceived is the way you're received on the stage. I would advise people who wants to deliver their next TEDx talk to pay attention to that. A lot of practice and practice and practice and practice and practice would help them to be able to become better and better and better and better, and be able to deliver the most intelligent talks that they will be so proud of themselves. The next thing I would say regarding preparing your talk is that you need to hire a coach, a professional coach, to guide you. There are guidelines, there are rules that regulate the TEDx platform. So a TEDx coach should be able to hold your hands, support you, guide you, and put you in the right position to be able to deliver the most intelligent talks ever listened to. So those would be my two advices in a nutshell. But then just to give you a bonus, I would say also you're practicing, learn to smile. A beautiful smile in the process of delivering a talk adds great value and builds this natural connections between yourself and whoever that will listen to you in real life or virtual basis. So many thanks to you, Mr. Obehi, for asking this question.
Thank you for that. That is a good advice. That is a good advice. Okay, now let's look at individuals who have become successful in a speech as a TEDx speaker. This person have spoken. The video is out there. Hopefully, it's out there in the TEDx YouTube space and also maybe on the website. Now, how can that professional, again, we are looking at creative entrepreneur, leverage their tech talk experience, maybe to boost their business or personal brand? I mean, what kind of follow-up should they do after they have made a speech and their content is out there for people to consume? Can you recommend some tips?
Yeah, I think what they need to do is to invest in their PR, invest in their PR, post the videos on their social media handles, bring people together, and ask those people to help them to share the videos, the links. So those things are what they need to do. But most importantly, they need to invest in the PR, because if you do great things and nobody knows about it, it's equivalent to you not doing anything at all. So you need a strategic PR organization, or just one or two persons, or you can set up the PR strategy yourself and action it. But ensure that you don't just deliver a talk and fold your hands. You need to put it out. You need to talk about it. You need to be creatively mad about it. Like, you need to announce it. You need to make some strategic noise with the content so that people are able to, be drawn to what you've done. We are in a noisy time where many people are talking, many people are speaking. So you need to look for a way to intimate what you have done for people's attentions to be captivated. And that is why I advise people that deliver their TEDx talk not to fold their hands. Look for ways to be able to effectively attract the attentions of people to what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Izu. Thank you so much. We appreciate your value here. They are really inspiring and have a lot of uh, tips that people can apply right away. So I encourage all of you that are listening, apply the tips that are shared here by Izu or in your business. Of course, you don't necessarily need to be a tech talk speaker. You might actually apply it in where you are connected with human beings. Because if you are connected with human being, you are going to share story, you are going to talk at one point or another. So all these tips can actually be relevant to you too, even if you are not a TED speaker. Of course, we hope that you become a TED speaker. All right, Izu, how can people find you? Those who want to do business with you, those who want to connect with you, those who want to learn more from what you do, please share with them.
Yeah, so people can connect to me on LinkedIn. My name there on LinkedIn is Izu Samuel. And once you see me on LinkedIn, we can always do a lot of things together. But many thanks to you, Mr. Obehi, for having me.
All right, thank you so much for that. We have come to the end of the conversation, but I would like you to give a final take on the topic of today. Of course, we are looking at how people can leverage the power of TED Talk and use it to elevate their brand and influence as a creative entrepreneur. And of course, you have shared a lot of incredible value here that people can take away. But if you were to say one short thing, I don't know, kind of a summary of what you want people to take away from this conversation, what would that be?
The most powerful thing you would ever give to people, the most incredible asset, the most beautiful thing you would give to people, something you would never be forgotten about, is your story. And just imagine for a single moment, you delivering your story on a platform that has over 41 million users. It's going to be an incredible thing. Do you even know what your story can do for someone? Your story can give life to a dying person. Your story can revive someone. Your story is a roadmap to someone who is possibly confused and at a point where you were before. So you need to tell your story for someone out there to experience real transformation. And I believe so much that your story is your greatest asset. My name is Izu Samuel, and thank you all for listening to me thus far.
Thank you so much, Izu. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. The power of storytelling is uncontested. It's the most powerful instrument that we have in the world as human beings. So I appreciate you highlighting that a lot. And of course, I encourage people to check out what Izu is doing. And if you have the possibility, prepare to become a speaker. And Izu is going to teach you how to become that speaker, that successful speaker in terms of how you are able to reach people and leverage the power of your engagement for your business. This is why we are here. So thank you so much for all of you. And thank you so much, Izu. It has been a pleasure here. Thank you very much, brother.